Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 7-Minute AE Tutorials, where you learn tips, tricks, and shortcuts in 7 minutes or less. No BS, just AE. This episode is part one of a two-part series where we're going to be covering issues related to working between Illustrator, Photoshop, and After Effects. This episode is going to focus on how to export layers out of Illustrator to be opened and used in After Effects for purposes of animation. The next episode will go in the opposite direction, where I'll show you how to export layers out of After Effects for purposes of being opened and used in Illustrator and Photoshop. We're also going to touch on some issues you may run into whenever dealing with text layers while working between these three apps. There's a lot to get through, so let's dive right in. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at going from Illustrator to After Effects. And if you don't use Illustrator that often, it's not a big deal. This is just going to hit on some of the highlights of Illustrator and some things you need to know if you get assets that are vector or Illustrator based and they need to be used in After Effects. So the first thing to take note of, we have all of our content here on layers. So we have this text layer, we have our man, we have our chair, and we have our background. And now notice how our vector of the man is going outside of our artboard here. That's not a big deal. A lot of times designers will put a clipping mask on it so that way it will stay within the confines of this artboard. And an artboard to Illustrator is as a composition is to After Effects. So if you think about it like that, it really helps with understanding how this works. So let's go to File. I'm going to save as because I've already saved the file just so you can kind of see what it is I'll be doing. And I'm just going to save it as AI project file, hit save, and I'm going to replace it. And whenever you save these AI files, you'll get this window that's going to pop up. So just click OK. And then I'm going to bring up After Effects, and then we're going to go to File, Import File, and here is our AI project file for Illustrator. And we want to make sure we import this as a composition. And as you'll see, if you double click into that comp, we get all of our layers here. And this is going to mirror our layers in Illustrator. So over here to the left is our Illustrator. We have text, man, chair, background, and then After Effects, text, man, chair, background. And so now I want to show you what happens if you import it as footage. So go to import, and then let's choose import as footage. So it's asking me if I want to import it as footage or comp. I'm going to say footage and click OK. Let's just drag this into a new comp. And as we can see, it's only one layer. So this one layer contains all of this information. So that's why whenever you import these, you want to make sure that you import them as a composition. Now, the thing that's really cool about this is once you get the vector files in After Effects, you have a lot of control. You can change all of these image layers, create shapes from vector layer. You can create all of those to shape layers. And this is going to give you a lot of freedom. So for example, with this background here, now this is a shape layer. And so see, we can change the background if we want. It just gives you complete control over this. For the chair, if you open this up, these are all the groups that make up the chair. So we just solo that. And so here's our chair right here. And see, we have these 8 groups. And then if we check out our man layer here, we can open that up. Let's solo that. And we can see that these are the groups that make up our man. Now, the thing that's cool about this, again, is you have complete control over this. So say if you wanted to maybe change his ethnicity, you could change the color of his skin. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these shape layers real quick because this episode isn't necessarily about converting shapes to vectors, although that is part of it. One of the main things I want to go over is this issue with this text layer. So we have our text layer here. I'm going to solo that. If we right click and choose create, as we can see, the only option is create shapes from vector layer. And if you click it, nothing happens. And in fact, you get a warning saying could not create outlines. And the reason why is because After Effects is trying to figure out how to convert what it thinks is an image into text. So there's a way to deal with that in Illustrator. Let's go back into our Illustrator file, and we want to focus on our text layer here. And I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it first and then the right way to do it. So let's go to File, Export, Export As, and you want to export this as a PSD file. We're going to hit Export, and these options here are very important. You want to make sure that your screen resolution is 72 ppi, and you want to make sure that you have Preserve Text Editability. So if we hit OK, and it's going to write our Photoshop layers. Okay, we go back into After Effects, and then we're going to import. We want to bring this in as a composition, import. And now let's go into this composition and see, as you notice, first of all, if we go to our comp settings are not 1920 by 1080, which is what all of these are set to. This one's 1054 by 651. And as you can see, it's basically wall-to-wall text. Illustrator is just exporting this area right here. In order to tell Illustrator that you want this comp to be 1920 by 1080, even though our artboard is 1920 by 1080, as you can see up here, what you need to do is enable a background layer. Let's do that instead. I'm going to go back into After Effects and just get rid of this AE text. And then back in Illustrator, now that we have our background layer enabled, this should export this artboard at 1920 by 1080. And the reason why that's important is because you want the placement of this text to be accurate. So let's go to Export, Export As. We'll just overwrite that file there. And again, screen 72 PPI, right layers, preserve text editability. And go back into After Effects, and now let's bring that in again. So we say import file, and it's going to be this file right here. We're going to import it as a composition. Now, if we go into this comp, we can see that it's placed perfectly. So this is our original project file. But again, remember, we couldn't use this text layer because you can't convert this vector into text. And then our text layer is right here. And as you can see, it's going to fit in perfectly. Illustrator puts our text layer inside of a pre-comp. Let's go inside of there. So this is our text that came over from Illustrator. And remember, we exported this as a PSD file. One of the things that's cool about PSD files in After Effects is if you right click, you can choose Create, Convert to Editable Text. And so click that. So now we can do all kinds of cool things. We can change the color of this text. We can change the font if we'd like. You have full control over this text as if it's just text that's created within After Effects. Copy that, go back into the project file that we brought in. If we paste it, and now we can take this text layer that has our Illustrator icon on it and get rid of it. So now we have this editable text within this composition. And remember, whenever you have Illustrator files, you always want to rasterize them. If they're not rasterized, I'm just going to increase the size of our man. Now, so if we rasterize it, you can see that it keeps its full quality. I like to convert all of them to shape layers. So we'll create shapes from vector layer, and now you can get rid of these Illustrator files. Shape layers are automatically rasterized, so no matter how big you make them, they won't lose quality. So just to quickly recap, going from Illustrator to After Effects is ideal for exporting vector images, which can be converted to shapes inside of After Effects. All layers will be reflected in After Effects, both in number and by label, meaning however many layers are in Illustrator, you'll have the same exact number of layers in After Effects, and they'll even be named the same. For editable text, you must export as a PSD file at 72 PPI. And when bringing AI files into After Effects, always remember to import as compositions. I hope that helped you out. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell so that way you're notified every time I upload a new video. I'd love to get your feedback about this course and also hear about any other topic you would like to see covered. And don't forget to sign up for my Udemy course, The Power of Shape Layers. It's a comprehensive course that covers literally every aspect of shape layers. The link to that course, as well as the notes for this episode, are in the description below. And stay tuned for part 2 of this series, where you'll learn how to export layers out of After Effects to be opened and used in Illustrator and Photoshop. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.